Hey, I'm Liz from No Trace. I have a new little baby niece in my life, and I have been busy making a little baby book out of felt for her. And in this video, I'm going to show you how easy it is to make a cute little book for a baby or a toddler in your life using felt and embroidery floss. So let's go. Let me show you the materials that you need to make your own felt baby book. Obviously, you're going to need some felt. You can use wool felt or you can use the more economical synthetic felt. I'm actually working with wool felt because my mom loves upcycling wool sweaters into wool felt. You'll also need embroidery floss and an embroidery needle, paper and a pencil, scissors for your paper, fabric scissors, and either a fabric marker that washes away with water, or you can use tailor's chalk. The felt you're going to cut to 2 different sizes. So one piece of the felt is going to be the cover of your book, and it should be 5 inches tall and 8 3/4 inch wide. And the felt that you're going to use for the pages on the inside of your baby book need to be 5 inches tall and only 8 inches wide. So they're a little bit less wide than your cover. So I've chosen to use 3 pieces of felt for the inside pages, but you can use fewer pages or more pages. Now, the first thing that you're going to want to do is you're going to want to decide what kinds of designs you want to have inside your baby book, and then you want to start drawing those or maybe printing those from images that you've found online, and you want to keep your designs really simple. You also want your designs to be about 3 inches by 3 inches so that they're going to fit nicely on one side of your book. And once you have a design that you like, you're going to want to cut it out all around the edges. So I've already done that for a little simple kitty cat, and I'm going to do a simple dog. This is going to be a sun. Here we have a heart, obviously, and a moon, and then V for my niece's name. And of course, make sure that you use your paper scissors, not your nice fabric scissors, when you're cutting out all of your designs. Once you have all your designs cut out, it's also a good idea to test them out on 1/2 of the felt pages, just to make sure. Actually, this is going on the cover, but you just want to make sure that you're happy with your piece, and then obviously you can modify it if you want to. So just take a second and lay everything down and make sure that you're more or less happy. Okay, now I have all of my pieces cut out, and I've picked out pieces of wool that I want to use for each piece. And in the next step, I'm going to use my fabric marker. You can also use chalk. And I'm going to trace each of these pieces out onto the wool that I want to use for each piece. And I want to trace it out on, if your wool has like a front side and a back side, I actually want to trace it out onto the back side. And then I'll put my little pattern piece with the right side down onto the back side. That way when we flip it around, the pretty side of the felt will be in the exact shape of the front side of the design. So hopefully I'm not overcomplicating that, but basically I'm just going to go ahead and trace out some pieces. Now that all of the pattern pieces have been traced onto felt, I'm going to start cutting out my little pattern pieces one at a time. Once you have all of your little pieces cut out, the next step is to put your book together with the cover on the outside and the pages folded in half and next to each other. Okay, so this is one piece of felt and it's going to be the first two pages, these will be the next two pages, and these will be the next two pages. So you can obviously use all the same color or different colors and put them in whatever order you like. And once you figured out the order, now you're going to start placing your cut out pieces onto the pages. So you want one on the cover, obviously, and then inside you're only going to be putting pieces on the inside pages, because these two, let me set this down, these two parts are going to actually get sewn together around this edge. So this will be one side of the page and this will be the back side of the page. Okay, so you're going to be sewing your felt onto the insides of these pages. So take a moment and just lay out the pieces on the cover and on the inside so you just have a sense for where they're going to end up. Okay, I have the pages sorted. I'll give you a sneak preview. So obviously the V goes on the cover, and then when you open the book, which is grabbing these two sheets, there will be the sun and the moon, and then these two pages. We're gonna have a little flower, which, oh, my flower fell over, and we're gonna have a little heart on this side, and then when you flip again, we're gonna have the dog and the cat. I ended up doing the dog again in white because I didn't love the way the purple looked. So the next step is to sew the pictures or letters onto their pages. So my V is going to get sewn by hand onto the cover, and I'm going to be using embroidery floss and a really simple whip stitch around the edges, and I'm only going to sew through obviously the V and then this part of the cover. Okay, my pages are almost done. I have all my little creatures sewn on and the little faces, but I am going to take a minute and I'm going to embroider words under each picture. So sun, moon, dog, heart, flower, cat, and then my little niece's name. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. You absolutely don't have to add words, but I think it would be fun. So I'm going to add some words and then I'll show you what's next. Okay, all of my little pages are finished, and the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to put them into the cover. So remember, one piece is larger and it's going to be the cover. And I want to put the pages folded together like this. And they are going to get placed into the little book like so. So they're each facing each other, and then they're just stacked like this. So you can kind of get them in the order that you want and sort of see how your little book is going to look. So once I've got them in the order I want, I'm going to do a really simple running stitch to secure them right at the center of each of these pages onto the cover. So I'm going to take a second and just do a running stitch to get this page secured here, and then I'll do a running stitch on this page so it's secured right here. And then finally for the last page, I'll do a little running stitch and just secure it. I'm trying to get them as close to this little center area as possible. All right, the very last step, now that the pages are secured to the cover, is to do a blanket stitch all around the edges of the pages. And we're going to be joining them together so that all of this, backside stitchery is hidden. So we're going to be joining these two along these edges, these two along these edges, and so forth. And I'll just show you real quick how to do the blanket stitch. So I've got my thread on my needle and I've got a knot at the end, and I'm going to start down here, and I'm going to start in between the layers so that my knot will be back in here. And I'm just going to go through the purple pages so the knot is in between the cover and the purple. So it's just tucked down in there. And then I'm going to wrap around both the purple and the cover, and I'm going to push my needle from the cover to the inside, and I want it to come out pretty much where it already came through. And then I'm going to pull all of my embroidery thread through, but I'm not going to pull it all the way. I'm just going to leave it loose so that I can go into that loop and grab it. I probably have too much thread here. I should have done a little less. Okay, and then I'm going to pull it. So I pulled that little spot tight, and so that's my first stitch. And now again, I'm going to go from the cover towards the inside, and I'm trying to keep my stitches kind of short and kind of close together because I do have some words that are close to the bottom edge. I probably should have moved them up a little bit more, but I think it's going to be fine. So now my second stitch, it comes from the outside cover towards the inside, pulling all my thread through until I have just a little loop here. And then I'm going to go into the loop and pull so that it's tight, but not too tight, just right. Just the right amount of tight. Okay, I'm going to do that again. So it's the same process, just going from the outside to the inside and pulling all that thread through, but getting into that little loop and then pulling it tight. Okay, so this will help the pages stay together and hide the inside stuff, but it's also a nice like decorative look. And I'm just going to keep working my way around the book, kind of going around the pages, the cover, until everything is joined together. So it'll be a minute, and then we will enjoy the finished project. Can't wait. My little baby book is done. Let me give you a close-up tour. All right, here is your close-up tour of the finished baby book. As you can see, I got the blanket stitching all around the edges. That keeps these two pieces together. It keeps all of the stitching hidden in between the layers there. And the little book is all done with all of its pages and its little pictures. And if you've made it this far, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the No Trace channel. And if you're looking for more fun felt upcycling projects or other upcycling projects, I'm linking to a playlist underneath this video.